Hello and welcome to the show. Tonight we're diving headfirst into the brightly lit, air-conditioned jungle of American retail. It's a place where you can buy a single banana, a 70-inch television, and a questionable legal defense all under one roof. We're talking about how major American companies are making billions by taking advantage of everyday shoppers. And yes, I'm definitely looking at you, Walmart, with your aisles wider than some international borders. And you, Dollar General, whose business model seems to be, what if a convenience store had a panic attack? And of course, Amazon, the company that knows you need more cat food before your cat does. We're constantly bombarded with news about the shoplifting epidemic, the brazen thieves, the organized retail crime rings. It's a narrative that paints the consumer as the villain. But let's pause for a moment. Let's take a sip of our lukewarm coffee from a promotional mug we got for signing up for a credit card we didn't want. You might think shoplifting is a one-way street, a simple case of someone pocketing a Snickers bar and making a run for it. But what if I told you that's just the opening act? What if the main event, the real multi-billion-dollar heist, is happening right in front of us, executed with the precision of a Swiss watch and the moral compass of a hungry raccoon in a dumpster? What if the real thieves are the stores themselves? Yes, it turns out the hand dipping into your pocket might not belong to a fellow shopper, but to the very corporation you're trusting with your hard-earned money. Tonight, we're going to peel back the shrink wrap on these deceptive practices. We'll explore how a simple shopping trip can turn into a legal nightmare, how prices can become a magical mystery tour at the checkout, and how returning an item can feel like negotiating a hostage release. We'll look at the hidden costs, the phantom fees, and the outright wage theft that props up these retail giants. So grab your comically oversized receipt and a magnifying glass, because things are about to get infuriatingly and frankly, quite beautifully petty. This isn't just about saving a few bucks. It's about understanding the systemic fleecing of the American consumer. Stick around. Let's begin with a practice that is so brazenly audacious, you have to almost admire the sheer gall of it. I'm talking about retailers accusing innocent people of theft and then essentially shaking them down for cash. It's a delightful little scheme, known in legal circles as civil recovery or civil demand. Here's how this little piece of corporate theater works. A store, let's say a retail giant whose name rhymes with Schmalmart, accuses a customer of shoplifting. Maybe a security guard saw them put a tube of chapstick in their pocket to free up a hand, only to fully intend to pay for it at the counter. Or maybe their kid grabbed a candy bar and they didn't notice until they were at the exit. It can be a genuine mistake, or in some cases, a complete fabrication. The key here is that criminal charges are often never even filed. The police might not be called, or if they are, they might find no evidence of a crime and let the person go. But that, my friends, is where the story truly begins, because the store isn't necessarily interested in justice. They're interested in profit. Shortly after the incident, the accused individual receives a scary-looking letter in the mail. It's from a law firm on behalf of the retailer, and it demands a payment, usually somewhere between $200 and $500, to settle the civil matter and avoid being sued. It's a legal threat, pure and simple. This letter is designed to terrify you. It's filled with legalese and threats of further action, court costs, and a damaged reputation. It implies that if you don't pay up, this retail behemoth will unleash its entire legal army upon you. A regular person who maybe just wanted to buy some socks and a rotisserie chicken. Many people, faced with the prospect of a costly and public legal battle against a billion-dollar corporation, do exactly what the store wants them to do. They pay the fee just to make the nightmare go away. They pay even if they are completely 100% innocent. And why wouldn't they? Who has the time or the resources to fight Walmart's legal team over a $250 shakedown? It's a business model built on intimidation and the statistical probability that most people will choose the path of least resistance. The store gets to keep the money, and the law firm representing them gets a cut. It's a tidy, profitable little side hustle that preys on fear and confusion. It's not about recouping the cost of a stolen item. The item is almost always recovered. It's about generating an entirely new revenue stream from accusations alone. Think about the perverse incentive structure here. The more people the store accuses, the more demand letters they can send out. This has led to documented cases where overzealous loss prevention officers are essentially incentivized to rack up accusations regardless of their legitimacy. They become commission-based accusation machines. The system doesn't just punish the guilty, it creates a financial motive to ensnare the innocent, turning the presumption of innocence into a quaint, unprofitable suggestion. It's a grotesque distortion of the justice system for the sake of a few $100, multiplied by thousands of terrified customers. And this isn't some fringe activity. Major retailers have been doing this for years. They hire third-party law firms that specialize in this exact brand of legal intimidation. These firms operate on volume, churning out thousands of these demand letters a day. They know that a significant percentage of people will pay without a fight. It's a numbers game, where human dignity and the principle of innocent until proven guilty are just unfortunate externalities in a very profitable equation. The store gets to play the victim of theft in the press while simultaneously running a protection racket on its own customers. The sheer cynicism is breathtaking. A company will spend millions on ad campaigns telling you how much they care about your family and your community. They'll put up signs saying, "Our people make the difference." And then, in a back office, they are running a finely tuned operation to extort money from those very people based on flimsy or even non-existent evidence. It's a system that turns a simple misunderstanding into a source of pure profit. It's like a car insurance company charging you a potential accident fee just for driving. Even more disturbingly, these demands often disproportionately target the most vulnerable. People who are less likely to understand their legal rights, who may not speak English fluently, or who simply don't have the financial cushion to risk a legal fight are the easiest prey. They're the most likely to be intimidated by a threatening letter from the law offices of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, and just send the check. It's a regressive tax on being scared and powerless. And let's be clear, many states have laws that allow for these civil recovery demands. But the way they are implemented often pushes the boundaries of legality and ethics. The fees demanded often have no relationship to the actual damages suffered by the store, which are usually zero since the merchandise is recovered. The damages are the supposed costs of their internal security, which they would be paying for anyway. They're essentially charging you for the privilege of being wrongly accused by their own staff. The result is a shadow justice system where corporations act as judge, jury, and beneficiary. They get to levy fines without a trial, based on the flimsiest of pretenses. They've managed to monetize the very act of suspicion. So the next time you see a security guard giving you the side eye in the canned soup aisle, remember, they might not just be trying to prevent a crime, they might be prospecting for their next civil demand letter. This isn't just an anecdotal problem. Class action lawsuits have been filed against retailers for these very practices, accusing them of what amounts to organized, systematic extortion. While some companies have had to pay out settlements, the practice remains widespread because, for the most part, it works. It's a dark, dirty little secret of the retail industry. A perfect example of how the powerful can manipulate the system to squeeze money out of the powerless. It's not shoplifting, it's accusation profiteering. All right, let's move on to our next exhibit in the Museum of Corporate Skullduggery. This one is less overtly terrifying than a legal threat, but far more insidious and widespread. I'm talking about pricing, or, more accurately, the creative and often deliberate lack thereof. You walk into a big box store, perhaps a Dollar General, where the aisles are a chaotic labyrinth of cardboard boxes and hope. You see an item you want, a festive candle, a bag of chips, a spatula, but there's no price tag on the shelf. Not above it, not below it, not anywhere in the immediate vicinity. It's a pricing ghost. You might think, oh, they must be busy. They just forgot. That's a charitable interpretation. A less charitable and frankly more accurate one is that this is often not an accident, but a strategy. It's a tactic called price obfuscation. By not showing you the price, the store removes your ability to make an informed decision right there in the aisle. You have to commit. You have to pick up the item, carry it all the way to the front of the store, wait in line, and only then, at the moment of truth when the cashier scans it, do you discover its cost. And what happens at that moment? The price flashes on a tiny screen for a fraction of a second. Let's say it's higher than you expected. You thought that spatula would be $1, but it rings up as $4.75. Now you're in a socially awkward position. There's a line of impatient people behind you. The cashier is staring at you, waiting. Do you hold up the entire line to contest the price of a spatula? Do you ask them to void the transaction? Most people don't. They feel pressured, embarrassed, and they just pay the higher price. It's a few extra dollars, right? Who wants to be that person? Well, congratulations. You've just been successfully upsold through social anxiety. And those few extra dollars multiplied by millions of transactions every single day across thousands of stores add up to an astronomical amount of money. It's a business model that profits from your politeness and your unwillingness to cause a scene. This isn't just a Dollar General problem either. It happens in supermarkets, department stores, and everywhere in between. Items on sale ring up at full price. Buy one, get one free offers mysteriously don't apply at the register. The shelf tag says $9.99, but the scanner says $12.99. These are not random, unavoidable errors. State and federal investigations have repeatedly found major retailers like Walmart to have systemic problems with price scanning accuracy. Inspectors go into stores and check hundreds of items, and time again, they find a significant percentage of them ring up for more than the posted price. The errors, funny enough, almost always favor the store. It's amazing how technology, in the hands of these retailers, seems to have a consistent, pro-corporate bias. It's like a slot machine that's rigged to only ever pay out to the house. The stores, when caught, have a well-rehearsed script. They blame computer glitches, human error, or problems with updating the thousands of prices in their system. And sure, mistakes can happen, but when the mistakes are happening this consistently and in one direction, it stops being a mistake and starts looking a lot like a business practice. They are, in effect, daring you to catch them. They are betting that most customers won't notice, and that of the ones who do, most won't bother to complain. And it's a fantastic bet. Think about the sheer scale of this. If a massive retailer overcharges just 1% of its customers by an average of $1 each day, the numbers become staggering. For a company like Walmart, with its hundreds of millions of customers, that's not just pocket change. That's a fortune quietly siphoned from shoppers who are none the wiser. It's death by 1,000 paper cuts, except you're the one bleeding money and they're the ones holding the paper. And the entire system is designed to make it difficult to fight back. Receipts are long and confusing. Who has the time to stand there and cross-reference every single item on their 47-item receipt with the shelf tags they may or may not remember? And if you do find a discrepancy, your reward is a trip to the customer service desk, a place that often feels like a bureaucratic purgatory where time itself slows down. All to get back the $2.50 they overcharged you for yogurt. They make the cost of getting your money back in time and frustration higher than the amount of money you lost. This practice is particularly effective in stores that cater to low-income shoppers, the very people who can least afford to be overcharged. When you're on a tight budget, every dollar counts. These stores market themselves as champions of the thrifty, offering always low prices, while simultaneously skimming off the top with deceptive pricing tactics. It's a cruel irony. The people who are the most careful with their money are the ones most likely to be victimized by these subtle, systematic overcharges. The defense from the companies is always the same. It was an accident. But how many accidents does it take before it becomes a pattern? How many millions of dollars in accidental overcharges have to accumulate before we call it what it is? It's theft. It's a quiet, clean, digital form of theft that doesn't involve a getaway car or a mask, but rather a barcode scanner and a calculated bet on consumer apathy. So the next time you're at the checkout and the cashier is scanning your items, watch that little screen like a hawk. Be that person. Ask for a price check, hold up the line. Because the price isn't just wrong, it's wrong on purpose. And the only way to stop them is to make it less profitable for them to be mistaken than it is for them to be honest. Good luck with that. Now, let's venture into the Bermuda Triangle of retail, the customer service desk, specifically for the purpose of making a return. In theory, the process is simple. You buy something, it's not right, you bring it back with the receipt, and you get your money back. It's a cornerstone of consumer confidence. But for many companies, the return process has been weaponized into another opportunity to hold on to your cash. Welcome to the world of keeping your money from returned items. A practice as frustrating as trying to fold a fitted sheet. It starts with the return itself. You bring back that shirt that didn't fit or that toaster that only toasted one side of the bread. The friendly employee takes the item, scans your receipt, and says, "Okay, your refund will be processed back to your original form of payment." You hand over the merchandise, the store now has its product back, and you walk away trusting that your money is on its way. But then, nothing happens. Days turn into weeks. You check your credit card statement, and the refund is nowhere to be found. Suddenly, you, the customer, are forced to become a detective and an accountant. You have to call the customer service hotline, a journey into a hellscape of hold music and automated menus. You navigate a phone tree designed by someone who clearly hates humanity, only to finally reach an agent who has no idea what you're talking about. They ask for order numbers, transaction IDs, the star sign of the cashier who helped you, anything to put another obstacle in your path. Each step is designed to make you give up. This isn't just about slow processing. Sometimes it's a deliberate corporate policy. Companies, especially in e-commerce, have been known to create labyrinthine return systems. You have to print a special label, use a specific box, and drop it off at a location that's 40 miles away, only on a Tuesday. They accept the return, the tracking number shows it was delivered back to their warehouse, but the refund is never initiated. They have the product, and they still have your money. It's the retail equivalent of having your cake and eating it too, and a particularly insidious version of this is the forced store credit. You return a $100 item you paid for with cash or a debit card, and instead of giving you your money back, they issue you a gift card. They'll claim it's store policy for certain types of returns, but let's call this what it is: an interest-free loan that you have been forced to give them. They haven't given you your money back, they've given you a coupon that can only be used to give them more of your money later. It keeps your cash locked inside their ecosystem. Many people end up with a wallet full of these low-balance gift cards from various returns, little plastic reminders of money they never really got back. And a significant percentage of that store credit, known in the industry as breakage, is never even redeemed. The company gets to keep that money forever. It goes straight to their bottom line. They've turned a customer service function into a pure profit center by simply refusing to give you your own money back in a usable form. Then there are the restocking fees. You return a perfectly good unopened item, and they charge you a 15% fee just for the inconvenience of having to put it back on the shelf. Inconvenience? You're the one who had to drive back to the store, wait in line, and deal with this. The restocking fee is often pure profit. Another way to claw back a portion of the refund they are legally obligated to give you. It's a penalty for the crime of changing your mind. Let's look at a company like Amazon. Their return process can be incredibly easy, which is great, but it also creates a massive volume of returns. What happens to all that stuff? Sometimes getting the refund can still be a challenge. They might claim the item you sent back wasn't the correct one, or that it was damaged even if it wasn't. You, the individual, are now in a dispute with the largest retailer on the planet. Guess who usually wins that argument? They have your money and the item, and you're left with an email saying case closed. The core issue is a fundamental power imbalance. Once the store has your money and has taken back its merchandise, you have very little leverage. You're relying on their goodwill to complete the transaction, and many companies have realized that there's profit to be made in having very little of that goodwill. They can delay, deny, and deflect, knowing that many customers will simply get tired of fighting for what is rightfully theirs. It's a war of attrition, and they have all the supplies. They have call centers, established policies, and the simple fact that it's your time and energy being wasted, not theirs. Every person who gives up is a win for their accounting department. They've turned the simple act of a refund into a complex, multi-step ordeal where the desired outcome, for them, is you abandoning the quest. This isn't just poor customer service, it's a calculated financial strategy. By creating friction in the return process, they can significantly reduce the total amount of money they have to refund. They get to have it both ways. They advertise easy returns to get you to make the purchase, and then they make the process anything but easy to keep you from getting your money back. It's a bait and switch played out over weeks of frustrating phone calls and emails. Thus far, we focused on how these retail giants take money from their customers. But that's only half the story. To truly understand their business model, we need to look at how they treat the people on the other side of the counter, their own employees. Because one of the most profitable and morally bankrupt forms of theft is one you never see as a shopper. I'm talking about wage theft. It's a practice that's as common in retail as fluorescent lighting and the lingering scent of floor cleaner. Wage theft can take many forms, but one of the most prevalent is forcing employees to work off the clock. Here's a typical scenario. An employee's shift ends at 10 p.m. They go to clock out, but a manager stops them. Hey, before you go, can you just quickly restock that end cap and tidy up the front? This quick task might take 15, 20, or even 30 minutes. The employee is no longer on the clock. They are not being paid for this work. But they do it because they want to be seen as a team player, or more likely because they're afraid of having their hours cut or even being fired if they refuse. This isn't an isolated incident. For many retailers, It's an institutionalized practice. There are stories of managers requiring employees to arrive 15 minutes before their shift starts for a mandatory unpaid meeting, or requiring them to stay late after clocking out to perform closing duties. Some companies have even faced lawsuits for policies that required employees to undergo security screenings and bag checks after they had already clocked out for the day, making them wait in long, unpaid lines just for the privilege of leaving work. Think about what that means. If a company with 1 million hourly employees manages to squeeze just 15 minutes of unpaid work out of each of them per week, that's 250,000 hours of free labor every single week. That's millions upon millions of dollars in wages that stay right in the company's pocket. It's a colossal, silent heist happening every day in stockrooms and on sales floors across the country. It's stealing, not from a stranger in an aisle, but from the very people whose labor generates the company's profits. Another popular flavor of wage theft is the denial of overtime. Federal law generally requires that hourly employees be paid time and a half for any hours worked over 40 in a week. To get around this, some retailers will meticulously manage schedules to keep everyone just under that 40-hour threshold, even if it means running the store with a skeleton crew. Or more deceptively, they will misclassify employees as assistant managers or supervisors to make them salaried and therefore exempt from overtime pay, even if their duties are virtually identical to those of an hourly employee. These assistant managers end up working 50, 60, or even 70 hours a week for a flat salary, with no extra pay for the extra time. Their effective hourly wage plummets, sometimes even below the minimum wage. It's a shell game played with job titles, designed to extract maximum labor for minimum cost. The title gets a tiny bump, but the paycheck gets hammered. It's a promotion in name only, a trick to legalize working someone to the bone. And then there's the simple, straightforward theft of not paying people for the hours they did work. This can happen through glitches in the payroll system that mysteriously short people's paychecks, or by illegally deducting the cost of uniforms, cash register shortages, or even customer drive-offs from an employee's wages. It's nickeling and diming the people who are often already living paycheck to paycheck. This isn't just about money, it's about dignity. Forcing someone to work for free sends a clear message: your time is worthless. It creates a culture of fear and exploitation where employees are seen not as assets, but as costs to be minimized. And it has a ripple effect. That stolen money isn't just disappearing, it's money that employee can't use to pay rent, buy groceries, or support their families. It's a direct transfer of wealth from the pockets of low-wage workers to the profit margins of multi-billion-dollar corporations. And the companies, of course, have plausible deniability. It's against our policy for managers to ask employees to work off the clock, they'll say. But they create the conditions where it's all but inevitable. They give store managers impossible targets for payroll costs and productivity, essentially forcing them to cut corners. The manager who can squeeze the most unpaid labor out of their team is the one who gets the bonus. The company gets to keep its hands officially clean, while unofficially encouraging the very behavior they publicly condemn. The scale of wage theft in America is staggering. Studies have estimated that it costs workers billions of dollars a year, far more than all the money lost to shoplifting, burglary, and robbery combined. Yet, we hear endlessly about the shoplifting crisis, while the epidemic of wage theft gets a fraction of the attention. It's the perfect crime. It's quiet, it's diffuse, and its victims are the people with the quietest voices. So while we, as customers, are being overcharged by $1 at the checkout, the person checking us out might be having $20 stolen from their paycheck that week. It's two sides of the same coin, a corporate philosophy that views both customers and employees as resources to be squeezed for every last drop of value. The entire magnificent, brightly lit edifice of modern retail is built in part on a foundation of stolen time and stolen wages. Finally, we arrive at our last stop on this tour of corporate chicanery. This one is a masterclass in modern digital deception, a trick so slick you might not even notice it's happening until months later. I'm talking about misleading subscription or membership fees. It's the art of signing you up for a recurring payment without your clear, enthusiastic consent, and then making the cancellation process feel like trying to escape from a cult. And the undisputed king of this realm is, you guessed it, Amazon. You've probably heard of Amazon Prime. Free 2-day shipping, streaming video, a whole host of benefits. But many people found themselves enrolled in Prime without ever consciously deciding to join. For years, Amazon used what are known in the business as dark patterns. deceptive user interface designs intended to trick users into doing things they don't want to do. The button to complete your purchase without signing up for a Prime trial would be tiny and gray, while a giant, flashing, bright orange button would scream, "Yes, I want free shipping," which also, surprise, signed you up for a trial that would automatically convert into a paid membership. It was a design that deliberately manipulated user psychology. It preyed on our tendency to click the big obvious button and to not read the fine print. Millions of customers were enrolled this way. They'd enjoy the free shipping on that one order, forget about the trial, and then a month later a charge for $139 would appear on their credit card. They were tricked into a subscription, and Amazon pocketed the fee. This wasn't an accident, it was a carefully engineered customer acquisition strategy, and once you're in, getting out is another story entirely. The cancellation process, for Amazon and many other subscription services, was often a masterpiece of deliberate obstruction. To cancel your membership, you wouldn't just click a cancel button. Oh no, that would be too simple. Instead, you'd have to navigate a maze of menus, each one designed to make you reconsider. You'd be presented with pop-ups saying, "Are you sure? You'll lose all these amazing benefits." They'd show you how much you'd saved on shipping, trying to trigger loss aversion. They'd make you click through multiple pages, confirming and reconfirming your desire to leave. The process was so convoluted that the Federal Trade Commission filed a lawsuit against Amazon, calling the cancellation process the Iliad Flow, after Homer's epic poem, because it was a long, arduous journey. The FTC alleged that Amazon knowingly complicated the process to dissuade customers from canceling, thereby retaining millions of dollars in unwanted membership fees. It's the digital equivalent of a high-pressure salesman who refuses to let you leave the room. But this isn't just an Amazon problem. Think about the last time you bought something online from a lesser-known retailer. At checkout, you might see a pre-checked box that says, "Yes, sign me up for VIP membership for just $14.95 a month." If you're not paying close attention, you'll complete your purchase and be unknowingly enrolled in a recurring fee. It's a trap for the inattentive, a tax on not being a hawk-eyed skeptic of every single online form. Or consider the free trial model used by countless apps and services. They get your credit card information upfront for a free 7-day trial, but they are betting on you forgetting to cancel. There's often no reminder email, no warning that your card is about to be charged. They just silently start billing you, hoping you won't notice the small charge on your statement for a few months. It's a business model built entirely on consumer forgetfulness, and these aren't small amounts of money. These subscription services, these VIP clubs, these auto-renewing memberships, they add up to billions of dollars in revenue for these companies. Much of that revenue comes from people who aren't even actively using the service they're paying for. They are phantom customers, paying monthly fees for something they either forgot they had or were tricked into signing up for in the first place. The difficulty of cancellation is a key feature, not a bug. They make it easy to sign up with one click, but require a phone call during specific business hours, a written letter, or a journey through the digital labyrinth of the Iliad Flow to cancel. The asymmetry is deliberate. They want to maximize the friction for leaving while minimizing the friction for joining. It's a mousetrap designed to be easy to enter and nearly impossible to exit. This practice erodes trust. It turns the relationship between a company and its customer into an adversarial one. You're no longer a valued patron. You're a wallet to be hooked up to a recurring payment machine. Every interaction becomes a potential trap. Every checkbox a potential long-term financial commitment. It forces consumers to be constantly on guard, to treat every transaction with the suspicion of a bomb disposal expert. The fight against these dark patterns is ongoing. Regulators are starting to crack down, forcing companies to make consent clearer and cancellation easier. But the incentive to use these tricks remains powerful. For every company that gets fined, there are a dozen others hoping to fly under the radar, quietly billing millions of customers for services they never really wanted. So the next time a website offers you a free trial or a special membership, be wary. Read the fine print. Look for the pre-checked boxes. And if you do sign up for something, put a reminder in your calendar to cancel it before the trial ends. Because in the world of digital retail, free is often the most expensive word there is. So, where does that leave us? We've seen how stores can turn a mistaken accusation into a payday, how the price on the shelf can be a work of fiction, and how returning an item can feel like filing a missing person report for your own money. We've looked at the stolen hours from their own employees and the subscription traps designed to ensnare the unwary. It's a landscape of quiet, systematic exploitation, all happening under the guise of everyday low prices and customer satisfaction. These aren't isolated incidents. They are features of a system designed to extract maximum value from you. Whether you're a customer or an employee, it's easy to feel powerless against these retail Goliaths. After all, what can one person do against a multi-billion-dollar corporation's finely tuned machine of profit extraction? But awareness is the first step. Understanding these tactics is your shield. So next time you shop, remember, sometimes the biggest thefts happen behind the counter, not in front of it. The scanner that accidentally overcharges you, the return policy that gives you a gift card instead of cash, the subscription you were tricked into, that's the real, organized retail crime. And unlike shoplifting, it's often perfectly legal. Be vigilant. Check your receipts before you leave the store. Watch the scanner like your life depends on it. Read the fine print on every free trial. And if you have a story, share it. Talk to your friends, leave reviews, file complaints with consumer protection agencies. The more we shed light on these practices, the harder it is for them to operate in the shadows. Don't let them profit from your politeness or your frustration. After all, it's your money. You worked for it. You should be the one who decides where it goes, not some glitch in a corporate computer system. Thank you for watching.